I always believed that love meant trusting someone completely, even when it didn't make sense. When I first met Tessa, she told me she had just left an abusive relationship. Her ex was unstable, manipulative, controlling. She said she had to change states just to escape him. I didn't press for details. I wanted to be the guy who made her feel safe, not another man trying to interrogate her past. The first red flag? She never wanted me to pick her up from home, always met me at a coffee shop, or her friend's place, as she called it. Then there was the time she flinched when my phone buzzed late at night, like she was expecting someone else to show up instead of a notification. I chalked it up to trauma, gave her space, patience. But over time, the inconsistencies piled up. She once mentioned her apartment being on the second floor, and then a week later, she joked about taking the stairs up 3 flights every night. I noticed a men's cologne that wasn't mine on her hoodie. She laughed it off. Just grabbed the wrong one from the laundry at my friend's. Still, I let it slide. I told myself, she needs healing, not suspicion. But nothing prepared me for what I found when I finally followed her home one night. That night, Tessa had told me she had a late shift at the clinic and would be staying at a coworker's place nearby because of a plumbing issue at her apartment. I didn't plan to follow her, but something about the way she rushed the conversation, how she wouldn't even let me finish my sentence before hanging up, it hit different. So I drove to the area she claimed to live in. I parked 2 streets over and waited. I told myself I just needed peace of mind, that I wasn't spying, I was protecting my heart. At around 8:30 p.m. I saw her. She wasn't in scrubs. She wasn't with a coworker. She got out of an Uber with a smile on her face, carrying a paper bag of takeout, and walked right up to a duplex I'd never seen before. She didn't knock. She used a key. I felt my stomach turn, but part of me still hoped. Maybe it was a cousin's place, maybe a friend's. But then the porch light came on, and a man stepped out. Tessa walked straight into his arms, kissed him, long, intimate. He wasn't just anyone. He wasn't just a roommate. This was the man she told me had abused her, the one she'd said she was terrified of, and she was living with him. By choice. I sat in my car for almost an hour, paralyzed, watching their silhouettes move around inside like everything was normal, like they were a couple, a happy couple. I kept hearing her voice in my head. He manipulated me, Owen. He scared me. He was dangerous. I don't even want to say his name. But here she was, laughing with him, sharing dinner, wearing the hoodie I thought she had left at my place. I drove home in silence, hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles went white. I didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of my bed, scrolling through old messages, trying to pinpoint where the lie began. That weekend, she came over like nothing had happened. She curled up next to me, said she missed me, said she couldn't wait for us to move in together once things were settled. She told me she loved me, and I looked at her. I mean, really looked at her, and I realized she wasn't afraid of him. She was afraid of me finding out. That changed everything. I needed to be sure that I wasn't just losing my mind. So I tested her. I told her I had a last-minute work trip coming up, said I'd be gone for the weekend. I even packed a bag, booked a dummy hotel reservation, and left my place Friday afternoon. But I didn't go anywhere. I parked 2 blocks away from her apartment, just out of sight. She didn't waste a second. That night, his car pulled into her driveway. I watched him walk inside like it was his home. He had a key. A key. They were still living together. Not exes, not a past threat. I watched the lights turn off one by one in the apartment, living room, kitchen, bedroom. They were together. All this time, she had been living a double life, playing the scared victim for me while going home to him. The next morning, I saw them leave the apartment together, holding hands. It wasn't fear, it was betrayal. I confronted her the following day. I didn't tell her I'd seen them together. I just asked, "Are you still in contact with him?" She looked me in the eye and said, "No, I blocked him. I don't even know where he lives anymore." That lie rolled off her tongue so effortlessly, it chilled me. So I pushed a little more. I told her my buddy had seen someone like her with a guy who looked like her ex. That maybe it was a mistake, but I wanted to check in. Her response? She cried. She spun a story about being stalked by him again, said he must be following her, that I didn't understand how scared she was, that I was making it worse by questioning her. The gaslighting was so thick, I almost started to doubt myself, even after seeing it with my own eyes. She didn't just lie to me. She lied to her family, to her friends. She lied to herself. She wasn't the scared woman I thought I was protecting. She was someone else entirely. A few days later, while she was in the shower, I noticed her purse was open. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but I reached in and found a small silver key on a cheap blue keychain I'd never seen before. When I asked about it later, she told me it was for an old mailbox she hadn't used in years. But something didn't add up. That night, when she said she was going to a yoga class, I followed her again, this time more carefully. She didn't go to yoga. She didn't even leave the neighborhood. Instead, she went to a building I didn't recognize, walked to the 3rd floor, and used the same key to let herself into an apartment. I waited across the street, and about 10 minutes later, he showed up, her dangerous ex. They kissed at the door like it was a routine, like it wasn't a secret, like they lived together. I felt like my lungs had collapsed. All those stories, all that fear. It was a performance, and I'd been the fool in the front row the whole time. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I needed more than just what I saw. I needed undeniable proof, something I could show others, something she couldn't twist. So I waited. The next day, I acted normal. I kissed her goodbye. I made her coffee. All while inside, I was screaming. That evening, I said I was working late and instead went back to that same building. I knocked on the door. No one answered. But as I turned to leave, it opened, just a crack. Her ex peeked out, and for a brief second, his eyes widened, like he recognized me from the pictures in our apartment. Then he smiled. "Ah," he said, "so you're the husband." The husband, not her ex, not her roommate, the man who was being lied to. He didn't slam the door. He let me in. And what I saw inside shattered any last hope I had left. 2 toothbrushes, her favorite cereal on the counter, a framed photo of the two of them from just 2 months ago. She had been living a double life. And I had been nothing but the filler in a script she never even planned to finish. I didn't say a word to him. I just looked around that apartment, her second home. Then I left. I drove straight home, packed a bag, and disappeared for a week. No texts, no calls. Silence. When I returned, she was frantic. "Where were you?" I was worried sick. I thought something happened. I looked her in the eyes and simply said, "I know everything." At first, she denied, then deflected, then finally, she collapsed into tears. "I was scared," she sobbed. "He threatened me. I couldn't leave him." But the truth was, she never even tried. Her sister confirmed it later. She had been back with him for months, playing both sides, stringing me along while she lived a lie. Divorce was messy, but freeing. Turns out the only thing more dangerous than her ex was her ability to manipulate sympathy and twist the truth. Now, I live alone, and I sleep peacefully for the first time in years. Because sometimes the greatest escape isn't from a person, it's from the story they wrote for you without your permission.